This episode of Tekzilla is sponsored by Full Sail University. As you may or may not know, this Saturday, May the 4th, is Star Wars Day. Get it? May the 4th be with you? Well, we thought it would be fun to bring on a real live sabersmith to talk about building lightsabers and to give a little beginner's guide to soldering. So joining us today is Julio Reyes, aka Savatron from Savatron Sabers. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
All right, so this is obviously a more finished design here. Is this one of your basic sabers?
Yeah, that's one of the basic sabers. It just lights up, so it's great for dueling or cosplay or pretty much anything you could think of.
And what kind of electronics go into something like this?
So for a saber like that, you're looking at a 3-watt LED, a switch, resistor, and a lithium-ion battery pack.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have some footage of you building a lightsaber for one of our coworkers, and all the components seem really pretty complicated for such a device. And what is this one even more difficult to put together?
This one here is going to be a more advanced model. I'm going to unscrew this so you can see the inside. This one would take a lot more skill to try to build. This one here, you got an internal chassis system, crystal chamber, and everything.
Crystal chamber. All right, let me light this one up. Wow. Whoa, that crystal chamber is incredible. So yeah, this must be definitely a more advanced project for someone to pick up.
Definitely, definitely.
All right, so I will say that I have not soldered regularly since high school or college. So it's been a while for me for sure, but can you give some beginner's tips for people who have maybe never done it before? Yeah,
no problem. So, I mean, just like with everything when you're soldering, you're gonna need a soldering iron, solder, wire splitters usually. And the main thing that you want to always keep in mind is to get an appropriate soldering iron. Obviously the one you have is a lot better than mine. I just have the cheap Radio Shack one. But it does have a switch on it, so it is a little bit safer. And the main thing you want to do is basically just take your solder, pre-tin the tip a little bit, just so that way you can tell that it's hot enough to actually melt the solder.
Do you want it enough so that there's actually solder covering the tip, or is it just?
It doesn't have to cover it, just to test it to make sure it's hot enough.
Okay, yeah, we've got some melting going on here. There we go.
And once you've basically got that, in most cases, you're going to be soldering to, like, say, a circuit board, like the one that you have there. You want to make contact with the actual copper circuit on there, usually at like a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
And just leave it there for like a good 2-3 seconds. And when you have your wire on there, after about 2 or 3 seconds, just go ahead and start applying some solder to the pad itself.
Okay,
and
so
the
I
wire.
want to, so here's my copper, here's my circuit here, and then I just want to, I don't want to actually touch the wire, do I, or do I?
Yeah, you want to touch the wire and the copper pad on the circuit board.
Okay, oh gosh, yeah, it's sticking all over the place. So I've already made a mess, which is a great first start. There's no real way to kind of fix this once you've made this kind of mistake, right?
There are some ways, but it's extremely difficult.
Okay, so yeah, I've screwed up some of the connections here, but I can kind of clean it up a little bit if I start pulling it towards the connection. Yeah, I know you can kind of clean it up a little bit, but it gets harder the more solder you accidentally get on there. So when that happens, it kind of makes connections where there aren't supposed to be connections. And
exactly, and then you
circuit.
get short outs and stuff like that.
Okay.
But also, it's also good not to leave the soldering iron on the pad for too long, because you can burn out the actual copper traces. And once you do that, it's useless.
All right, well, let me see how a pro actually does it. I will pass along this stand to you, and why don't you show me what you would do for one of your lightsabers?
All right, so one of the components in a lightsaber that everyone likes is a recharge port. It allows you to basically plug it into the wall, recharge it without taking it apart, which is very useful, especially when you're going to conventions, stuff like that. Basically, you're just going to wire up your positive and negative connections, meaning the red for positive, negative will be the black connection. And essentially, you're just going to solder one on the right-hand side and then another one at the bottom. So the negative will be at the bottom and the positive will be at the right-hand side. And these are pre-tinned already, so all I gotta do is grab me a little bit extra solder and then just tin the connections themselves a little bit better.
Okay, so you actually put the solder right on the connections first.
For these components, yeah.
Okay.
Makes it a little bit easier. And then basically you just line them up and apply a little bit of pressure until you see it melt. And then just hold it in place. Oh, stick. There we go, that's a lot better. And then once it's dry, which takes only like a second, you can see I can tug on this. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
That is
Perfect.
a solid connection. And then you just basically take your other negative line and that's kind of hard to do. There we go. And once again, that one's on there nice and solid. And once you have that wired in line with your battery, that right there can be installed pretty much anywhere in your saber you want it, along the side, whatever, along the bottom. And then you can just recharge it using a smart charger.
Perfect, excellent tips. So where can people learn more about building lightsabers online?
There's a bunch of different forums. The two best that I know of are gonna be on the Custom Saber Shops forums, the customsabershop.com, and fxsabers.com also has a forum which has been around for a long time. There's a lot of information on there. You just gotta be patient, ask the right people.
And what's your website?
My website is savatronsabers.com, where you can find pretty much the models that we have here, as well as a bunch of others. And if you have any custom ideas or whatever, we can do those as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much today. I think I need a little more practice. I feel like I need to clean this up. It's really bugging my OCD.
No problem.
Okay, I'm gonna work on this.
Hey, if you haven't heard, we've spun HD Nation back up into a full-length show over on the TechFeed channel. Go to youtube.com/TechFeed, scroll down and find the HD Nation shelf. You'll find all of our episodes up there, or subscribe to youtube.com/TechFeed to get your guide to the best in HD content and home theater gear, no matter what your budget is.
The mobile app industry is on fire right now. That's why you should consider Full Sail University's online mobile development bachelor's degree program. You'll learn the programming and business sides of mobile development, giving the skills you need to conceptualize, develop, deploy, and market an application from start to finish. You'll explore advanced programming languages, visual frameworks, usability principles, and app deployment for iOS and Android operating systems. Students in Full Sail's Project Launchbox program receive a MacBook Pro preloaded with industry software, plus iOS and Android devices. Courses are delivered through Full Sail's immersive online education platform, which maximizes the capabilities of the Mac, giving you a learning experience unlike any other. Between the App Store and Google's Play Store, over 50 billion apps have been downloaded with no signs of slowing down. If you're ready to master the technology and software to compete in this rapidly growing industry, visit fullsail.edu/Tekzilla to learn more about this online degree program.